As we've seen in the past with legendary players like Kobe, LeBron, and tons of other big names, entering the NBA straight out of high school isn't a new thing. And even with today's current batch of NBA hopefuls, there are potential top studs just like LaMelo Ball who opted to take the overseas route and preparing themselves for the big league. And what came as a surprise to a lot of fans, the NBA G League seems to be the newest hotspot for some of the biggest names from the class of 2020. Top high school recruits like Jalen Green, Kai Sotto, Jonathan Kuminga, Daishan Nix, and Isaiah Todd have chosen to play for the new Ignite G League Select team as preparations for their upcoming entry to the NBA in 2021. But instead of taking the traditional route via the NCAA, why did these highly ranked prospects choose to play for the NBA's minor league before entering the draft? And considering that these guys are actually big name prospects and not just some low ranked high schoolers, there's a possibility that a lot of future high school players will take the same pre-NBA route if this experiment by the G League seems to be successful, which is very likely considering the level of talent involved with this new program. And eventually, could this G League route somehow take over the NCAA in terms of player development? What's good guys, it's Rear Balls here, and in this video, let's take a look at two of the most talked about high school prospects from the class of 2020 who chose to take this path, and they are Jalen Green and Kai Sotto. Why is there so much hype surrounding these two guys, and how can this G League experience actually help them increase their stocks for the 2021 NBA draft? Let's get to it. NCAA Division I schools like Duke and Kentucky have long been notorious for producing NBA-ready talents. But for real, with this initial wave of young prospects signing with the G League, it might not take long before the NBA's developmental league can rival these top college programs in terms of attracting high school recruits or even developing these young athletes. And if there's one guy who should be credited for starting this trend, it's none other than Jalen Green, who has been ranked as the best player in the class of 2020 and is also seen by many as the potential #1 overall pick in the 2021 NBA draft. Because what this guy did is actually a new thing around the world of basketball, considering that he's a big name prospect, and without him taking this route, the idea of high school prospects going to the G League might not even be looked at as a credible move by fans in the long run. But moving on, Jalen Green is of course one of the most talented guys in the class of 2020 because of his off-the-hook athletic ability, flashy moves, and his overall physical tools. Green is listed as a 6'5" wing who has long been ranked as a consensus top 2 prospect for the 2021 NBA draft along with Cade Cunningham. And depending on how he'll perform in the upcoming G League season, he just might be the consensus top pick right before the draft. But what actually makes Jalen Green so special, and how has he developed such a huge following since he entered high school? Well, aside from him being a staple of high school highlight reels, the guy's talent speaks for itself. In just his freshman year at San Joaquin Memorial High School in Fresno, Green averaged 18 points per game while leading his team to a state runner-up finish in California. In his sophomore year, he continued to dominate as he averaged 28 points per game while leading his team to a division title. Then, in his junior year, Green became San Joaquin's all-time leading scorer as in that season, he averaged a top-notch stat line of 33 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 dimes per game. And finally, during his senior year, he's transferred to Prolific Prep, a basketball academy in California where he led the team to the Grind Session World Championship as he averaged 31.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game while being named the tournament MVP. And in that same year, he was named as Sports Illustrated's Player of the Year and was also selected to Max Prep's All-American First Team. So yeah, this kid is one of the most decorated high school prospects ever, and him taking his talents to the G League will just help the league's marketability simply by looking at his overall following. And overall, I believe that the hype surrounding Jalen Green is very much justifiable due to his abilities. Well, whatever you're looking for in a top high school prospect, the kid has it. He's got explosive leaping ability with a quick first step that's going to drop anyone's jaw on the floor. Plus he can score in a variety of ways and from almost anywhere in the court, and is also good at getting to his spots. In short, he has all the makings of a legit go-to scorer in the NBA. Plus, considering that he has a 6'8" wingspan, you can't bet against this kind of kid in the defensive end of the floor either. And I believe that he has a top 5 player in the NBA type of potential, just based on what he has been showing as of now. And I'm not even mad when some fans compare him to a young Kobe Bryant. And whether we like it or not, the success of this G League Select team will be judged based on Jalen Green's performance since he's the biggest name out of all those prospects so far. Moving on to Kai Sotto, well, Kai is a more under-the-radar kind of guy, at least in the States, because compared to Jalen Green, he's got lesser exposure since he just moved to the States from the Philippines with the hopes of becoming the first full-blooded Filipino to make it to the big league. And by the way, Jalen Green also has Filipino blood, but yeah, Kai Sotto is literally a homegrown Filipino talent. And what's for sure is that this guy is a legit big-time prospect with a much bigger social media awareness and lots of hype surrounding him, with some observers even calling him the next Yao Ming. Well, I wouldn't say that this is a very accurate comparison from the get-go, but you know, considering that's probably going to be as tall as Yao after a few years since he's already 7'2" and is just 18 years old, you'll understand where the fans are coming from. But of course, this kid just might be the next big face of Asia in the NBA when he enters the league, and well, I think he could even be much bigger than Yao in a marketability standpoint. But for now, let's take a look at what Kai Sotto actually has in his arsenal and what's with all the hype. Well, during his high school years in the Philippines, Kai played for the Ateneo Blue Eagles program and he did lead his team to the UAAP Championship, averaging 17 points, 13 rebounds, and a mind-blowing 6 blocks per game, while also winning the Finals MVP award. Then the following year, he became the league MVP while tallying 25 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game for the tournament. And soon after, Kai's international awareness grew when he headlined the Philippine team during the 2019 FIBA Under-19 World Cup in Greece, where he averaged 11.7 points and 7.9 rebounds and a tournament-best 3.1 blocks per game. So with this kid producing such numbers in the world stage at 17 years old, you already can tell that it's just a matter of time before he gets noticed by NBA scouts, especially this time when international player scouting is very much of a thing. Then soon after, Sotto made the big move to the US in 2019 as he joined the Skills Factory, an Atlanta-based prep program where he earned MVP honors during the King Invitational Tournament as he averaged 27 points, 10.6 rebounds, 4.3 blocks, and 3 assists per game. And well, for a young guy who's above 7 feet tall, Kai definitely has a very good shooting stroke and exceptional footwork at the same time. And Kai's physical tools and skill set is something that would make the jaws of NBA scouts drop considering how the concept of spacing has changed the way the NBA game is being played. And well, another thing is that Kai has already shown flashes of being a good passing big man with great basketball IQ, which makes him more of a hot commodity considering that he can shoot the ball from deep and also has an advanced perimeter game, all while being a legit big man who can also score around the basket in a variety of ways. Yeah, as you can see, the kid's game is there, the physical tools are there, the basketball IQ is there, and his footwork is really good for his size. All it needs to probably take his game to the next level is some improvement in his body frame and conditioning, considering that he's still a little skinny for his size and position. Plus I think the kid still needs to work on his motor to be able to grind it in the NBA. But with all the training and conditioning that he's going to receive in the G League, he'll most definitely have an NBA ready body come draft night. And while most fans compare him to Kristaps Porzingis with his height, shooting and all that, I think I'd have to agree more to the Pau Gasol comparison skill-wise. Although I feel like compared to Gasol, Kai has a far better defensive upside considering where he's currently at a young age. But overall, the development of both Jalen and Kai will depend largely on their coach. That is why we have to take a look at the guy who was given the responsibility to sharpen these young prospects' tools while in the G League. And he's no other than Brian Shaw. Yeah, you might know him as the guy who played 11 years in the NBA who won multiple championships with the Lakers during the era of Kobe. But more than that, he's also had assistant coaching stints where he spent 7 years with the Lakers and 2 seasons in Indiana. But his big break came when he was hired as the Denver Nuggets head coach in 2013, but the thing is, he was immediately fired after 2 seasons as he only compiled a poor 56-85 win-loss record. And the question is, despite his not-so-good reputation as an NBA coach, which is proven by the lack of coaching offers from teams after his firing, is he the right guy to lead a group of young, developing, and elite high school prospects? Well, probably a lot of guys would have second guesses, but personally, I think that this partnership among Brian Shaw and the G League is a win-win for both coach and players. And that is because if you look at it, a lot of players from the NCAA fail upon entering the NBA simply because there is a ton of pressure put at the shoulders of college coaches to win during the season, and as a result, players end up being raw and unfinished products. But things work out differently in the G League because however talented top prospects like Jalen Green or Kai Sotto may be, their priority during the season is to develop as much as they can and not necessarily to win. Because after all, even though the G League is an NBA minor league, quite frankly, winning a championship out there isn't as prestigious as compared to winning an NCAA national championship. But the good thing is these top prospects would get to play against both veteran guys and other NBA hopefuls while working with professional NBA level trainers on the side. So yeah, I think as long as Brian Shaw gets to maximize these guys' skill sets and gets them ready to enter the NBA by next year, then there won't be so much of a criticism towards him. The only concern you would have if you're a big Kai Sotto fan is that probably there's a big chance that Coach Shaw would give more minutes to a quicker and more agile big man like Isaiah Todd. And the question is, would Kai be able to effectively compete with him in the rotation considering that Todd is ranked by ESPN as the 15th best player in their class? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But what's for sure is that this choice to go to the G League is going to help both Green and Sotto take their games to a higher level, thanks to all the experienced trainers and staff they'll be working with day in and day out. Well, there's a big chance that both guys would end up as NBA superstars in the long run, but whether or not that happens, what's for sure is that Jalen Green and Kai Sotto already have paved the way for young prospects around the world to have another way of elevating their dreams and eventually make it to the NBA. Thank you for sticking until the end of the video, and if you've enjoyed this one, please help me promote my content by subscribing to the channel. Of course, shout out to all the Filipino basketball fans around the world, as well as the guys who have been taking time to smash the like and subscribe button. Those things go a long way for me as a new content creator, so please continue to do so. And also, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below, or if you want to hear about anything NBA on the channel, then feel free to hit me up and let me know. Again, this is Reader Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.